Welcome to the HigherEdJobs Podcast Playlist Edition. I'm Andy Hibble, the Chief Operating Officer and one of the co-founders of HigherEdJobs.
And I'm Kelly Sherwin, the Director of Editorial Strategy. Today, we are happy to welcome a team member from HigherEdJobs, Lindley Brinkman. She's our Senior Account Manager of Recruitment. Thanks, Lindley, for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's great to have you here today, Lindley. And we're doing another episode of the Playlist Edition, which for folks who may not know, it's a playlist that we have on Spotify. And it's songs that are specific to job search and careers because every job search needs a soundtrack. If you're out there listening and you have songs you'd like us to add to the playlist, please email us at podcast@higheredjobs.com or tweet us at HigherEdJobs and let us know what we should be adding and we've missed. But today, Lindley, we're going to be asking you to add a song to the playlist. And I know, Kelly, I'm really excited to hear what Lindley might add to the playlist.
Look at her smile. I can't wait.
I actually knew immediately when you asked me. So some of you might know this and some of you might not, but I had internships. I'm going to give a shout out to Mike Hager, University of Toronto. He worked at Penn State when I went to school there. And he set up 2 internships. He created like a dual career program where you study business German and international business. And then whatever your area of business was, you would have an internship over in Berlin. And I did it twice for marketing and worked at the world's largest research and development part, which was part of Humboldt at the time, and then Deutsche Telekom for one of their subsidiaries. But you know how there's that one song each year that's super popular that everybody hears, you hear all the time, no matter what you're doing. And the first year I worked there, the song You Get What You Give by New Radicals. And it played every morning in Berlin as I was getting ready for work. And mind you, my German was horrible. It was terrible. And every morning I would get up and be like, what am I doing here? Like learning another language, working, answering the phone, working, going to I think it was at an EU summit at one point for pollution control. But my German wasn't good enough to know that. So, but every time I hear this song now, it motivates me to persevere and to keep trying because you get what you put into life. It also taught me so much about myself, like the strengths and weaknesses that I have working in another culture. So my just advice for anybody is if you ever have a chance to do a sabbatical in another country or travel for a year, work abroad, or move across the country to try something new, the biggest rewards you get out of life are what you put into it and the challenges you take on. So whenever life is hard, that's the song I play in the background to motivate me to get through it. So
that's a wonderful, wonderful song to add.
I love that. And thank you for telling the story, too. It's so inspirational.
It's funny because the whole office knows it because it periodically come on at work and they're like, oh, here's Lindley's song. This is a song Lindley loves.
So hold on a sec. You say it comes on in the office. Now, you didn't know this when you chose the song, but this song is a very deep HigherEdJobs root to it. So
really?
Has John ever mentioned anything to you about this song?
No.
So I distinctly remember this song because it was in the very early days of HigherEdJobs, very, very early days. We were struggling just to kind of launch the site and get people to it and get institutions using us. And it was really more or less a dream of ours, but not one that had been realized. And the song, I think, resonated with all 3 of us, but actually it resonated with John so much that John could not get enough of this song back in the day. The song was popular, so much so that when it first came out, he took such pride in this song. He said, you know, when U2 came out with or Without You, I knew that song was going to be a hit. And this song, I feel the same way about. So John felt like he knew the song was going to be a big hit, and he was right, as he often is. But really at that time of where we were collectively, I remember this song, and it very much brings me back to that place and John's bold prediction. So I'm amazed that he's not trying to take ownership of the song away from you, because I think he really feels like it's his song.
He probably just sits back and enjoys it and reminisces about, starting the company and the trials and tribulations of it and where it's come and what it's become. It makes me reflect on life and what I've done and where I've come and what I've achieved. And a lot of it was from working abroad and being there because it's not easy, but that song motivated me every single morning while I was making tea or coffee.
And you did it. You made it through. And like you grew from the experience. And I think from a job search perspective, what a wonderful message. Like the idea of you get what you give, but also kind of the way we reflect on that song in our careers. For me, tapping into that space that, this seemed right. This seemed like the right move to make for those of us. And Lindley, you've been with Higher Ed Jobs for a number of years, as has Kelly, and as I have as well. That is, you might be a long time in between job searches. That sweet spot of what feels right in that search and what the opportunities you are looking for, and it just clicks. You don't lose that sense of that felt right at the time. I liked what that did to me, and trying to tap into that a little bit as you reminisce. I think for those of us who have maybe taken a little bit of a hiatus for job searches, and I'm really hoping that the two of you aren't currently looking for jobs, but when you take that break, sometimes it's hard to channel what those feelings were at the time.
And I think being on the job search can be so kind of a scary experience or a frustrating experience, because it's kind of, once you apply, it's out of your control for a little while. And having something that motivates you to carry you through and gives you strength to persevere and to try something new and put yourself out there is, I think, something that will help a lot of people.
Perfectly said. Because if you don't put yourself out there and try, then you're not going to get anything in return. So having that courage to do that. Thank you, Lindley, for sharing your story and sharing your music. And I'll be honest, when Andy brought this idea up about the playlist podcast, I was like, but I'm so happy to hear all the stories that are going along with why people are picking their songs. So thank you for sharing yours.
Thank you again for sharing, Lindley, and thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was fun.
Thanks for listening. Have a great day.